The Xbox Summer Showcase has come and gone once again, the year 2025. We saw new titles and announcements from studios like Obsidian, Treyarch, The Coalition, inXile, Machine Games, among quite a few others. However, there was one notable exception from this showcase, one that cost Microsoft $7.5 billion to acquire. That was Bethesda Game Studios. So where on earth was Bethesda throughout this showcase? As a Bethesda fan, I gotta say though, this may be one of, if not the most disappointing showcases, again coming from that Bethesda fan perspective. There was a lot of cool stuff in there. The Outer Worlds 2 looks great, there are quite a few other games in there that, while they don't appeal to me, at least look good for the people that are really into those types of games. But I just can't help but, again, feel a little bit disappointed. However, I'm not one of those people that's gonna sit here and pretend like I need to demand that Bethesda does something, or we deserve, or Bethesda needs to. I'm just some dude shouting into a microphone, for Pete's sake. Like, nobody needs to listen to me. I'm not running a billion-dollar company. I'm not running a development studio. I'm just some guy sharing my opinion online, right? But again, I think the overall lack of Bethesda at the showcase was a little bit weird, and I don't know if alarming is the right word, but I'll throw it in there, slightly alarming. Starfield and its DLC we've known is going to be coming this year. Todd Howard, in his interview with Mr. Matty Plays last year, confirmed Starfield's getting a year 2. We are going to be getting a DLC. Shattered Space was announced and revealed at the Game Showcase in 2024. It was reasonable for us to expect that we would see whatever this next Starfield DLC would be at the Game Showcase in 2025. However, we didn't get a single peep about Starfield. We didn't get a screenshot of Starfield. We didn't even get a single mention of the game itself. The only things we got from Bethesda were 2 minor updates to live service titles of Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online, which, hey, for people that like those games, that's great. They get another update, but those aren't mainline titles, and with Starfield being their current flagship, seems like a pretty large omission for this show. Now, make no mistake, I'm obviously a pretty big Starfield fan. If you've seen my first ever video on the channel, which is the only other video on the channel, it's about how much I enjoy exploring in Starfield. Obviously, I'm a fan of the game. I have 375 or 380 something hours into the game. And so for me, coming into the showcase, that was like the number one thing I was looking forward to is, man, I want to see some more about Starfield. I want some more content. I've played a good amount of the game. I'm ready to see what else they have in store for us. And I felt it was a reasonable expectation to come in looking for that. However, obviously, we did not get that. Now, stepping back from my fan perspective and looking at this from more of a Bethesda or Microsoft, just kind of a business standpoint, I can understand why they wouldn't want to show anything off about Starfield, because even though The Outer Worlds 2 and Starfield aren't necessarily direct competitors, and Starfield's already been out for almost 2 years, this is just a DLC, whereas Outer Worlds 2 is a full release, I could see them not wanting to have those 2 space games compete against each other, and so from that standpoint, it does make sense. The second potential avenue I could see for why we didn't get anything about Starfield is because Bethesda, as you've seen online, has been blasted basically any time they do anything with Starfield. You look at the comments on any of their social media posts, not even regarding anything about like updates or changes, it's just a picture of a planet or some, happy National Space Day, and the comments are just filled with, this game sucks, you guys are terrible, close the studio, give us Elder Scrolls 6. And so it's almost like they don't want to say anything until they have a massive update to drop, essentially keeping those cards super close to the chest, and only once they're ready, they'll lay the cards on the table and say, boom, here you go. Here's the DLC, here's the update, here's when we're planning on releasing this, here's all these cool features. Because again, we've seen what happened with Starfield's Year 1, where they were kind of piecemeal adding features in here and there throughout the year, and then Shattered Space comes out and everyone's complaining. I mean, people were complaining even about the updates anyways, maybe not massive amounts, but still enough to the point where Bethesda was probably like, you know what, going forward, we're just going to say nothing until we have something massive to release. We're not going to put anything out there that generates expectations. We're not going to give any details. We're holding it close, and only when we're ready, that is when we will share. And this basically lines up with what Todd Howard said before about wanting the shortest possible window between announcement and release as he can get. And we saw that worked very well for the Oblivion remaster. They literally announced it and dropped it the same day. That was absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure for something like a Starfield DLC, that might be another potential avenue. I don't know how well that would work because Starfield doesn't have that massive built-in fan base like Oblivion or just the Elder Scrolls franchise as a whole does, but regardless, I could see them wanting to hold all release or detail information about this next DLC until they're ready to roll, and the release window is going to be super short. So moving away from the Starfield angle over to Bethesda's other two main IPs, their only other two IPs to be honest, Elder Scrolls and Fallout, didn't expect to see anything at all, so there was no disappointment there whatsoever. Elder Scrolls 6 obviously not going to release till earliest, I would assume 2027, probably most likely 2028. It would have been cool if we got some like little 5-second teaser with VI Roman numerals and some Elder Scrolls music in the background, but outside of that, didn't expect to see anything, didn't really even expect to see that, just kind of a hopeful wish. Fallout 5, I mean, that thing's in like pre-production, probably lucky if we see that by 2035, so obviously didn't expect to see anything there either. And that's basically where we're at with those two franchises. Really the main thing I think a lot of Bethesda fans are looking for, and Starfield fans as well, obviously, was Starfield and its DLC, which we didn't hear a single peep about, which was definitely pretty disappointing. Going off onto a little bit of a side tangent about Bethesda and their DLC release schedules and why the omission of Starfield is kind of frustrating in a way. We look back 10 years ago, right? Look back to 2015, June 2015, Bethesda just announces Fallout 4, release date of November. The game comes out November 2015, and within 1 year of Fallout 4's release, all 6 DLCs have been added to the game. That includes 2 major story DLCs, as well as 4 other DLCs that add different mechanics or features into the overall experience. 2 story DLCs obviously being Far Harbor and Nuka World, and the other 4, Automatron, Wasteland Workshop, Contraptions Workshop, and Vault-Tec Workshop. Starfield, by the time it hit 1 year old on September 1st, 2024, had 0 DLCs. It had a couple of updates. It had the Rev 8, which is awesome, but as far as major mainline story paid DLCs, it had 0. It took until September 30th of 2024 to get its first DLC of Shattered Space. Now we've rolled into 2025, expecting to hear something at the Xbox Game Showcase about the Starfield DLC for Year 2. We didn't hear a peep, obviously, as I mentioned earlier in the video, and Starfield may reach its second year of post-launch and still not have a second DLC, which is nuts, obviously, with Fallout 4 getting 6 within a year and Starfield getting 1 in 2 years of being out. That's just a little bit crazy to me. And I hope that Bethesda can kind of turn that around and start pumping out some content for Starfield. Not that I expect new content like a live service every month, but man, it'd sure be nice to have some new content to play with after putting 375 or something hours into the game right now. As for the rest of the game shown off at the showcase, a couple standouts. The Outer Worlds 2 is probably the biggest one, and obviously it was kind of the highlight of the show, giving it a 45-minute direct after the game showcase. Looks really good. I've never actually played all the way through Outer Worlds 1, so I'm probably going to play through that at some point before October when the Outer Worlds 2 comes out. The only concerning thing there about the Outer Worlds 2 is its $80 price tag, but as always, I mean, we'll see. It might be one of those wait for sale for me type games if the Outer Worlds 1 isn't just like blowing me away and I gotta have Outer Worlds 2 right when it comes out type of a situation. The DLC for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle also looks really good. The base game was fun, didn't complete it, but if the DLC is anything like the base game, it's going to be really, really solid. Another big standout, Clockwork Revolution. That looks like a really cool game. I don't remember if there's a first game, if this is like a sequel or just another entry in a franchise, but it looks really good. If there is an original, I never played it, but that looks really fun. Kind of interested in that Aphelion game as well. That looks like another interesting one. Kind of as for the rest of the games, though, none of them really stood out to me as far as like positive, like, wow, I gotta play this. Like, not super into Gears of War, not super into like the Final Fantasies or Persona, not really into, fighting games, so that Invincible game, not really for me. Shifting over to the disappointment side of things that I saw, no shade if you like this, but Call of Duty Black Ops 7, I mean, what a disappointment to throw that at the end of the showcase as if it's some sort of like massive thing that everyone's looking forward to. It's just not. I mean, Call of Duty, if you like it, that's fantastic. Not here to take away from that fun, but I personally have not enjoyed Call of Duty for quite a few years at this point. And I don't know, it's just Call of Duty, right? It's the McDonald's of video games. Nothing super special. It's just the same recycled game year after year, just slight changes to mechanics here and there, speed up the movement, slow down the movement, add attachments, add a new feature here and there. But other than that, it's just a mess. I mean, and who knows? Maybe I'm just getting too old, just don't care to sweat it out in multiplayer games anymore. I have to, sit on the edge of my seat and chug 6 gallons of G Fuel to keep up, but I don't care, right? I mean, that's just an easy skip for me. Notable omission, Forza. I know that Playground Games is working on Fable right now, but not seeing another Forza Horizon, kind of a little strange. I know some people are kind of expecting that, but not seeing that, not seeing Gears of War E-Day, not seeing Fable at all, that was another kind of disappointment because this game's been announced and in development for years, it feels like at this point. But anyways, who knows? Who knows what's going on with that? But yeah, I think that, Forza was kind of the only other like major notable omission, along with maybe a Halo, Gears of War E-Day. But other than that, I mean, I think overall the showcase was pretty good. Even though there are some games in there, not really for me, not really any that I care about. Definitely for the people that enjoy those games, I think they're going to have a good time. And there's plenty of stuff here for everybody, I think, just looking at the list of games. But other than that, that's kind of where I'm at. In conclusion, I think it was a good showcase. Obviously, coming from that Bethesda fan standpoint, a little disappointing we didn't hear a peep about anything from the mainline Bethesda titles or IPs, but there is some cool stuff here for sure at the game showcase. Something for everybody, I feel like, whether or not it came from your favorite studio / developer or not. I think there's something that would be interesting for you. Anyways, with that said, just kind of wrap it up here. Feel free to comment down below your thoughts on the Xbox Game Showcase, about the omission of Bethesda, about whatever it is you're feeling about the showcase, some of your favorite stuff, your least favorite stuff, whatever that might be. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate you clicking on the video, sticking around, and I hope you have an excellent rest of your day.